We are live. Hey, welcome to episode 30. I've titled this one, The Calm Before the Storm. Thanks for joining us, Christopher. I see you online. Jason is currently driving home. He had an activity that he did earlier, so he's trying to get home. Hi, Meyer. Michael, nice for joining you. Before I go into episode 30, which again, the title Calm Before the Storm, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Last week, I stated that we will be going over IEP as well as the 504 requirements. But school's going to be starting in about 3 weeks. And so I really wanted to have this conversation closer to when school starts because it's very relevant. It's a very relevant topic and it will land harder as we are getting closer to the actual school year. So we're going to go ahead and hold the topic until a couple of weeks from now. And I understand this is my second time pushing it, but I need to push it in this particular case. This will give an opportunity for parents of children to actually come on and join us. And I wanted to be upfront with everybody about that. Anyway, again, the title of this episode is The Calm Before the Storm. Right now, just in my opinion, everything on the surface looks very quiet this week. But there's a whole argument behind the title. Quiet to me, quiet to me isn't necessarily calm. Quiet often just means where the exosystem is working without a camera on it. So, and we have several threads that we will be discussing this week, and it's going to be discussing from foreign policy, federal accountability, state primary, and as well as the Senate story. And we can tie all this together to the first three. Now, I'm not saying that the storm is going to be happening this week. I'm not saying that it will be happening next week or even 3 weeks, but the storm is coming and we will see it through the patterns at different scales. And the first topic we're going to be discussing this week is actually the Iran ceasefire cycle.
Wait, what?
The Iran ceasefire cycle.
What fire?
Right. Now, as everyone knows, last week on Friday, may or may not know because it's kind of flying under the radar, we paused our bombing campaign on Friday, the July 24th. And that was after nearly 2 weeks of consecutive nightly strikes. And so basically the Department of War or the Department of Defense, they're not really called the Department of War. It's the Department of Defense. Source actually described the operations as on hold. And apparently, our vice president, as well as the Joint Chiefs chairman, General Dan Crane, reportedly raised concerns during the White House meeting about munitions as well as stockpiles and the implications of further escalations. Basically, we don't have the stockpiles to continue with the war.
I was just reading that this morning. We're at our lowest stockpiles in like 50 years or something.
Correct. So it isn't that they're doing this to actually try to get us out of the war. It's just kind of like on hold.
But they've got Saudi Arabia involved. And now that there was a whatchamacallit, a refinery that was hit by Iran and Saudi Arabia, that's gonna affect us. It's already
Absolutely.
gonna affect. Yesterday there was a 70-cent hike in gas here where I live. And that was, if I'm correct, it's the largest refinery in the Middle East. I'm not sure on that, but and now Saudi Arabia is like, well, hold on here. Wait a minute. Yeah, we need to talk about this.
But what you're stating here is that this is actually not like a single ceasefire story. It's actually our cycle.
No,
It's the cycle that we're going through, and it's the cycles that we have to pay attention to. That it's the cycles that actually gives light to the systems, and it's the systems that's actually setting the rhythm. So we're not this is not
okay.
reacting to it. This is the system. This is the cycle that's ongoing. You know, it's pause, take a beat, then get engaged again. So, where do you think, if we are to be engaged again, which most likely we will be because we've seen this pattern repeat over and over again, what is our next
They
option here?
they don't have a plan for one. They're just doing whatever they want to do. And the more important thing I think is, you know, do people on the right do they know what's happening? Kind of, they do, but not really because you know, I did a video yesterday showing one of the media outlets had mentioned Dr. Fauci's name over 343 times. All the other networks combined, 11. So they're not hearing about this.
No, not at all. And that's part of the reason why I'm saying it's the calm before the storm. And you're actually bringing up in one of our segments, Fauci. What are they doing? What type of questions are they asking Fauci? Think about the questions. They're asking about the Epstein file.
Oh yeah, yeah. So since we're able to do that now, so I should run for senator because I got a potty mouth, right? Right. So I'll witness in front of me as a senator and say, "What the fuck were you thinking?" Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
I do. It was a Republican
Yep.
senator, and
So yes.
so definitely a
So this is
Republican.
how we're going to act now.
Yeah, this is how we're gonna act now, and we're gonna ask questions that has no relations to Fauci at all. So, of course, he's gonna be claiming, the Fifth Amendment, but absolutely, these questions, they're only asking about let me tell you my opinion. The reason why they're asking about Epstein is the GOPs want to show, no, we're being tough on Epstein. See, we're asking the questions of it. So it's a little bit of deflection. Hey, Margaret, nice to see you. Um, Nice to see you, Joe, as well. I call it deflection. These Republicans are going to go out there and said, no, we have been asking about the Epstein files. We want the release of them. See, I have a pattern here, but they're asking them of Fauci. They're
They're
asking
creating
them,
propaganda is what they're doing.
correct, correct. And it's misleading. And so this is what we're hearing about, but we're not necessarily hearing about the fact that hey, how Katie actually won her lawsuit to get the Epstein files released. Were you aware of that?
No,
Yes.
maybe might have been.
And I think
And
that
that's the thing is that there's so much behind all of this. It's hard to remember everything. It is.
yeah, the DOJ was actually ordered to turn over the unredacted Epstein files to a federal judge this week. And as part of the Katie Fong lawsuit, after previously telling the court it had already compiled the Epstein files, compiled, actually complied with the Epstein files Transparency Act. And that took place on July the 27th. So just
Good.
recently. And so you're not hearing this type of stuff. And so the House Democrats did launch an investigation into whether Epstein acted as a foreign agent, and that's been ongoing. So that's another thing that you're not really hearing about.
Well,
But, but,
this goes back to a very long time ago. Even okay, let's say they hand them over and they say, "Yep, here they all are, unredacted, whatever." Does anybody one think that all the unredacted files that the judge ordered them to hand over are actually going to be the unredacted files? two, it goes back to what I said a long time ago. We can only hope and pray that somebody within the Justice Department, before Trump was inaugurated, took these and secured them or uh, preserved them somehow. That's the word I'm looking for. Preserved them somewhere, so in, for reasons like this, right? So we can't trust it. We can't. Cannot trust anything they release. So hopefully there was somebody beforehand that preserved them, the actual files.
I agree with that. However, I also know that they're coming out with very specific numbers, and apparently, what was released was about 3.5 million documents. 3.5 million. And apparently, to my understanding, there's another outstanding 3 million documents for a total of about 6 million point 5 documents,
Yep.
or pictures or whatever the case may be. But the 6.5 million. Over 3 million of those documents have not been released. And many of the documents were redacted so much, but they didn't actually protect um,
Victims.
the victims.
Yeah.
The names that were redacted, even though he shows up over 1 million times within the files, our illegitimate president was one of the names that was redacted, but he still shows up 1 million,
Right. And then that makes me think too, like, did they do that purposely? I mean, is there people that are like they don't like him, and then they went to Pam Bondi at the time and said, "Yep, we're done. Here you go," knowing what they did, knowing that they did a shoddy job at you know. So I'm just like,
And
both sides of the
when
coin.
the
What
when
you
the
do?
files were originally released, the first batch of files, I went through
Yep.
it, and what I discovered during the first batch of files, that the files were not necessarily redacted. What's happened is there's a way to recover the names that was under the redaction because they were not flattened out. What ends up happening with redaction is first you have to redact the name, right? And then you either have to save it as a PDF or a screenshot. Otherwise, if you don't do it that way, you can actually just do a copy and paste and discover what the name is.
Yeah, I remember they had to fix that error.
Right.
What kills me is like
A-
okay,
And
we went back in and fixed it. They said, and I'm like, "Well, you don't think people downloaded that?"
I've already had the names. There was a couple of financial institutions that they were trying to protect, and I have the full names of the institutions because I made
Right.
sure to just pull it out of the redaction. But I wrote about that, and it was just like, "What is this, redaction for dummies?" "What is this, redaction 101?" I mean, I was able to figure it out pretty quickly. And I just told everybody about it. "Here, go for it. Please, find out everything that
uh,
you can." But what the point I'm coming around to is the Epstein files seem to be like on the same time clock as Iran. You know, the quiet weeks
yeah.
are not necessarily empty weeks. These are weeks that the machinery keeps grinding without a camera being pointed at it.
Yep.
So it's happening in the background, but we're not hearing anything about it. We're definitely not hearing anything about our illegitimate president, how often he's in it. Instead, what are we doing? We're going in and we're asking questions of Fauci, bringing it right back around.
Right. The other thing too, what is funny is over on the mega side of the social media web, where's all their talk about the Epstein files? We heard about it for years and years and years. Epstein files. It's like it seems to have disappeared.
Well, it's the Trumpstein files now.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, and they're not gonna do anything, because our illegitimate president is in it. And really, they're truly
Well,
all over it. All over
she
it.
was best friends with him for well over 15 years, and they they bent, twisted, lied, did everything they can to say no, he wasn't during that time. Uh, and that my favorite one was the one of that sheriff in Florida that come out, and they're like, see, Trump was trying to turn him in. No, no, if they read one part of it, right?
Mm,
One part. They didn't read the whole thing.
the
Where
whole
Trump was calling him saying he wanted, well, what's going on with this? He was calling because he wanted to see if Jeffrey was naming him. That's the only reason he called the sheriff. It's not because he was given names. It's because he said, "Oh, the Oscar mobile. Sorry, the Oscar Wiener mobile just drove by us. Oscar Mayer hot dog wiener, whatever." Okay,
Yes,
that's neither
Mary.
here nor there.
Okay, Mary has a comment. I know you can't read it. She says the Epstein files library, the mobile, is making its way around the country, and she gives the website. I've actually looked at the project myself too.
Yeah.
It's massive, and that's not including everything. And it's absolutely massive.
Well, the
So,
first thing I
it,
did, like think like most people, was look at the pictures, right? And there's one picture for me that kind of stood out, and it was a picture of when they first got the island and they were taking pictures of Jeffrey Epstein's office. He
Mhm,
has an old phone there, right? And push button, call this person. All he has to do is pick it up, push the button, and automatically dials like old school, right?
mhm.
Three of the names on that phone were redacted. Like, okay, who whose names were they?
And weren't the
That's
victims.
what I think they were like, they could have been like Trump or
Mhm,
Kushner's dad or somebody like that. I mean, I don't know who they were, but like one said Office One, one said like New York office, then it had two other names on it, but there's three names that were redacted next to the buttons, and I'm guaranteeing one of those names was Trump or whatever nickname he had for Donnie there, or maybe DT like Donald Trump. That one is just that. Oh, it sounds crazy. It's a picture of a phone, right? But it's just you know that would connect him to Epstein far after he says that their relationship fell apart. We all know it didn't, but it
well,
would.
there's plenty here that are online. Imagine the FBI had that many files on somebody, how long and how intensively they were watching him. And Trump was a big part of the investigation. We have to keep this on the front burner. Absolutely, Mary. We do have to keep this on the front burner. And that's the
Yeah.
reason why the title of the program is the calm before the storm, because reality is we're not seeing it out there, and we do need to bring it up to the front burner. Every time that with poor Fauci having to claim the fifth over and over again, talking about the Epstein files, you know, this
Oh yeah.
is
It has.
deflection. This is deflection.
It's
And
a field day with it. I remind people that Trump pleaded the fifth 450 plus times.
was it,
450 plus times. He pleaded the fifth during his deposition in New York in 2022 or 2023. But remember, only the mob pleads the fifth. I'm home.
okay. So before we talk about our next topic, I'm going to jump in the fourth topic, and then we can end it off on your topic. Lately, there have been some versions of, I'm not sure if everybody is aware of this, but Trump actually put a lot of put several EOs in place regarding the elections. But one of these EOs was actually finally struck down. Judge Denise Casper permanently blocked major parts of Trump's first 2025 executive order, and that took place in June the 24th, 2026. And that includes proof of citizenship requirement and basically stating that the president lacks constitutional authority on how states run elections. So again, this is actually good news for elections integrity here at the state level. She basically says the president, and in our case, the illegitimate president, lacks constitutional authority. I know that was an oxymoron. So, yes, Elizabeth, good on that judge. Now, there was also, another EO that targeted the elections as well. And that particular EO, Trump is bringing it to the Supreme Court because it was struck down too. So here we have now two EOs, which most likely will be going to the Supreme Court. I can't
find it
hear.
astonishing. I find it astonishing. It's, um, I picture a word salad of an opinion giving him the okay to do it. They have taken his side, what, 23 times versus, what, 2 or 3 that they didn't?
Mhm.
And I think that's the point, and I think people need to ask themselves, I mean, we know why, right? We know why. Why is he going after this so hard? Why is he going after mail-in ballots? Why is he going after, the election that should, trying to pull it into federal control? People just, why? Why? Because we know why. Mail-in ballots are actually more fair, right?
And
They are.
and then that talks about the second order. The second order actually went with was targeting mail voting, and it was the second judge. The judge name is Indira Taiwani. Um, Also ruled against the second executive order. And that was signed, the second executive order, where the first one was signed in 2025, the second one was signed in March of 2026. And it specifically target mail voting and the national voting list. And again, it was ruled against. So again, two orders ruled against Trump. But Trump administration is now asking the Supreme Court to intervene
Yep.
as of this week. And I bet you guys didn't know that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. We'll see what kind of word salad of an opinion. But he doesn't really care either way. He's just going to keep trying and trying and trying and trying. Right?
Correct.
It doesn't. He doesn't care what the orders have to say. They just, like when they tried to attach, the Save Act to that Congress not a very weak bill in my opinion about members of Congress not being able to trade stocks, knowing that all the Democrats would vote against it because of the Save Act that was attached to it. So within minutes of the bill failing in Congress, they're all on social media going, see, them Democrats, they don't want to stop members of Congress from trading stocks. I mean,
I,
it's
I yeah, and once again, it brings us right back to Fauci. What
yep.
are they doing? It's that whole
Fauci's
narrative game.
so. Does anybody care? Really? Do I care that he was like, "Ooh, Tom Cruise knew my name, Julia Roberts knew my name"? I mean, come on. It's the circumstances surrounding it sucked, but being the head guy in the government for 40 years, I mean, all these famous people, it's pretty cool, right? So they take that and they spin it, and that's all he was worried about was
Well,
fame.
Elizabeth calls it pretzel politics.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
twisting ourselves into a pretzel over it. Absolutely. But we can't let that create so much chaos within ourselves to not realize what they're doing. What they're really doing is they're stealing our money. What they're really doing behind all the back doors is taking everything away from us and stuffing their own pockets.
Yep.
Look at Trump's family. Look at his children. They have made such a substantial profit off us.
And what did I say? The next president, whoever he or she should be, um, should order their Department of Justice, now that we have precedent that has been set, to confiscate every fucking dollar, every piece of property, every stock, bond, every frickin' pair of socks in their drawer from the Trump family, from the Kushner family, and all extended family, everybody to do with Trump.
Mueller from
Confiscate it
everybody.
all.
Mueller, everybody. Musk,
Yep.
everybody. We're talking everybody. And it needs to be done because basically what this has shown is how predatory capitalism is. So
It's horrible.
it's majorly horrible. So, but here we have is Trump continuously is losing in the court. I do want to say that.
Yep.
He
The
has
lower court.
been right. He has been losing with two different judges, two different type of EOs. He's having the same losing streak, and so what he's doing is by appealing it to the Supreme Court. We all know he has a friendlier venue with the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Yes, it's treasonous behavior.
I don't. I mean, hey, they could surprise us. I mean, the Constitution's clear on the elections, but who knows? The Supreme Court, they very well could surprise us. Maybe not. We'll see. I know one of the justices did an interview recently, and she's like, wanted to assure people that the court is separate. Well, no, not anymore. It's not.
No, it
It's
isn't.
not.
It isn't. And I am an advocate for impeaching Supreme Court justices, and I'm also an advocate for term limits.
Yep. I think a lot of most people are.
So that would be one of the things that I would hope would change in the next term, that we actually put on term limits for the Supreme Court justices. I think 20 years is decent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's for a Supreme Court justice. Absolutely.
So I think 20 years is decent, or even 12 years, which would be even doing term limits for senators as well. Senators should only be able to have 2 terms. That would be
Just like
12
the
years.
president.
Right.
What do you think about like Congress members though? I mean, since there's
representatives, because they're only a 2-year cycle, I would give them 8 years, 4 cycles.
I was just going to say 10 years.
Yeah.
That allows, and I think that's what people are seeing. Now I know, like, obviously Michigan's a hot topic in the news, depending on what news you watch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I think this feeling here in Michigan, with a lot of people that are not only upset about the fact, how much APAC is dumped into our state. And I put it out a little differently. I'm like, I look at it as what could that $50 million that they've spent to beat this guy, what could that have done for those constituents, right? For her district, Haley Stevens' district.
Yeah.
What could that $50 million have done? But no, they want to spend it to try to beat this guy who, his radical ideas are, as they like to call it, and he's not electable against Mike Rogers. It's all bullshit. I watched a little thing with Chuck Todd today, right? And they were like, but you never hear Abdul say, for Michiganders first. And I stitched the video and I'm like, bullshit. He's always, what am I going to do for Michiganders? And that's first. Number two, he's speaking to large crowds of Michiganders. I mean, let's be for real, because he thinks that he's setting himself up, for this movement in a presidential run, much like Barack Obama did. And I could see that. I could see that because, it's this whole notion of people of Medicare for all, we can't do it, and we can. We know that. We've talked about it. It's math. If you
It's
were to
very
tax
possible.
if you were to tax the 1,000 billionaires, multi-billionaires in this country 10% of their wealth, not only could we do Medicare for all, we could do universal childcare and preschool, and the rest of America wouldn't have to pay federal taxes. That's a big one, on top of Medicare for all. I mean, because do you think how much all of the 350 million Americans, whatever, 200 some million working Americans, how much federal taxes we pay? It- It's it's absurd. And to watch these billionaires be like, "Well, I have 6 billion in stock. It's- I'm going to go into a bank and I'm going to borrow $2 billion, put up this 6 billion in stock. I don't have to pay taxes on it." That should be illegal. You
I
should
agree.
not be able to use wealth like that. And I've been thinking about this a lot, um, such as stocks or bonds, uh, you know, physical, not really physical wealth, but wealth. You should not be able to use that to borrow money against.
Absolutely. So I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago about Jeff Bezos. Jeff
Yep.
Bezos only pays $82,000 a year. He doesn't even max it out for Social Security. He pays $82,000 a year. That's what he pays taxes on. Otherwise, everything is in corporations, and anytime he buys one of his mega yachts or one of these big homes, he doesn't necessarily take out cash to do that. What he does is he takes out a loan,
Yep.
and it's a loan not actually based on cash, it's a loan based on his stocks.
Yep. And then
That
when a
doesn't make
stock
any
prices,
sense.
yeah,
That doesn't make any sense,
it's not.
you know?
I mean, it's far different than the average person taking out an equity loan in their home.
Right, right.
You know,
Completely different.
there's a physical piece of property, a physical element here to borrow that money from. Stocks are, just this imaginary piece of paper that's valued at X amount of dollars based on sales. And it's, uh,
I wish these companies would just go completely down. Um, and I wish that knowing that it will affect my IRA. you know,
you're right.
and, I'm
And
thinking
we're,
to
and
myself,
we're, I mean, we're
I mean,
complicit.
and so it's kind of like a double-edged sword for people like us. It's a double-edged sword is I want these companies to fail. I do not I do not purchase anything from Amazon anymore. I do not go to Target. I do not do any of these types of things. But some of these companies are in the, you know, Fortune 500 and things. With that being said, I might have my stocks are in these plans. I wanted to pull my stocks out of the plan when I realized that SpaceX was going to be there because I knew I was going to take a hit, but I didn't have
Yep.
a choice. So I didn't have a choice but to keep it there. You
Yeah.
know, just 1% would be enough. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I'm concerned about Social Security. I'm concerned about Social Security being there for when I retire. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to retire.
What's the simplest solution? What do I say? Remove the cap. You remove the cap, guess what? Social Security will be there.
And I do have a controversial opinion about Social Security. My controversial opinion about Social Security is when you reach retirement age, you should be given an amount that's a livable amount. There are some senior
Yep.
citizens, there are some married people that could not contribute to the maximum. Became sick or whatever the case may be. So they only get maybe $1,500 a month.
And they still have to pay Medicare premiums
And they still have to pay
out of that money.
out of that. So my opinion is it needs to be a livable. things because they took away from pension plans. We don't have anything to protect us
Yep.
like the previous generation. We don't have a pension plan, you
Social
know?
Security needs to stop being, the COLA raise, right? Cost of living adjustment. They need to
Mhm.
find a different because that's not. There was 2 years when Obama was president that there wasn't one because inflation was zero, and there's the big fuck up by Biden
Yeah,
when they posted to Twitter. So
yeah,
Social Security recipients are about to get their biggest raise ever.
mm,
Yeah, because inflation was 9%, dude.
yeah, yeah.
That and then they removed that tweet. So that this cost of living adjustment, the way they do it based on inflation, is ridiculous. Who
Well,
the hell can live off that?
but what makes me a radical is I believe that when you get to that age, and they keep increasing the age for retirement. You and we can't retire until we're 67, is it not? Pretty close to
I think,
68,
yep,
67 and a
full
half?
retirement. But there's
Yeah,
somebody there's people, and that's what's great about social media is there's people that come on that are like, real experts in this stuff, and they're like, okay, I can either retire early, I think what was it, 63 and a half,
right.
or full retirement, 67 and whatever it is, right? I looked at the difference in the amount of money I was going to get.
Mhm.
Here's the amount of money I get if I retire when I'm 63 and a half. Here's the amount of money I get if I wait till I'm, another
Right.
5 years.
They say to
For
take it
me,
early.
yeah, because that difference in money, it's just not worth it
Yeah,
for anybody. And that was the point of the video. They're like, it was we're talking a few $1,000s in 5 years.
yeah.
Like under 10 grand more that you would have got.
So here's where I'm an advocate for. I'm an advocate for with decreasing the retirement age.
Yeah. Why should people have to work till they're, you know, walking bones, like, basically?
Um, Increasing the amount that is obtained, basically, taxing the billionaire's wealth, not necessarily income, wealth. Taxing the billionaire's wealth. And that's what the billionaires are going up against. We're realizing that they don't have much of a salary. So saying to tax the billionaires off salary is a whole nother story than to
Right.
say to tax the billionaires off their wealth. So, and we have to tighten up some of the tax laws.
Yeah, that's a must. That is a must. If you did, a 0.5% of all the billionaires' wealth, just to Social Security, a 0.5%. Social Security, I mean, people don't understand, I think people because it's the word billionaire and trillionaire stuff, it's thrown around like it's water, right? But
We can't
what
even
does it
count
take?
to a billion.
What did I
So,
do? What did I say it takes? Like 30, if you were to count to 1 billion, it would take you 33 years.
and a
33 years?
trillion, you're dead.
Yeah, if you were to count to a trillion, I think, I don't quote me on this. I don't remember the exact numbers, but
I
I think it's roughly 33,000 years it would take
Yeah,
you to count to a trillion by
yeah,
1, 2,
right.
3.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, and people, and what
but it's
frustrates me
fake
the most is
money,
watching people
but
simp
it's
for these people that don't care about them. They're like,
right.
"Well, they made it. That's capitalistic system. Leave them alone."
That's a predatory capitalist system. That is
Yeah,
not real money. That is not real.
no, it's not.
That's just words. It's not real money. It's not
Don't worry.
there.
Skynet's going to come and, you know, Skynet. Remember, I told you. Remember this day. AI is going to come. It's going to form Skynet, and that's it. We're
Well,
done.
you heard
We're
what
done.
happened. You heard what happened.
Yeah, I made
Did
a
you
video
not?
about it. Yeah, about
No, 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 no,
AI.
no. No, about AI was able to infiltrate another
Yeah,
system. Yeah.
yeah, by
And so,
itself.
yeah, by itself,
It
on its
wasn't
own.
commanded to do so, and they're
Yeah.
like, "That's
And
weird."
that's where, and the company is still open.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's why I said,
ChatGPT,
remember
by the way. It's
July
ChatGPT.
July 22nd. Remember July 22nd, 2026, the day we tried to warn you.
I know. It was there. It's there. It tried to do that. But not only extraction capitalism, I call it predatory capitalism. Chris calls it extraction capitalism. Let's just say we're not fans of capitalism here. And
No.
obviously, I'm pretty much
I
a
mean, let me
social.
take that back. The a capitalistic market should work for everybody the same,
Absolutely.
right? So, it's like I'm not a fan of the capitalism we live in because we don't live in a capitalistic system right now.
No, we don't.
We what was the word for it? Can't remember right now. I can't remember that, but anyway, it's a different type of system, and and uh, God, I wish I could remember the word for it. Hey, could you bring me a Dr. Pepper from the fridge, please? Not yet, please. In a minute. I need my Dr. Pepper, man. I'm a doctor. He's a doctor. Wouldn't you like to be a
Be
doctor
a
too?
doctor too. Be a
Yeah.
doctor. Be a
And
doctor.
that's why we were driving back. I was like, I'm talking to you, and I'm like, oh shit, there goes the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. I know everybody's got to know what that is, right? It's a damn big old truck that looks like a hot dog driving down
Dog,
the street.
right.
Oh shit, that
How
was
did you
funny.
like that? But yeah, we're talking about this, and these are the stories that you're not necessarily hearing even on Substack. And so Jason and I try to bring out different things that we're seeing from our lives, and from a micro to the macro to the exo. So as a result of that, yes, we do kind of to lose tangent or go off onto different tangent, but it's all related, and it's all
Yeah,
related in regards to what we're talking about. And once again, it's the calm before the storm. Um, and so I do
and
want
that's
to.
what's changed too. Sorry, on social media is all these platforms are going like
They follow the
more
same
local,
things,
right?
right?
Like TikTok now, I see more local videos than anything. And looking back on like my first account, I'm like, why was I able to get so many views, 3 to
Hmm.
5 million views a week
Yeah.
and not have that big of an account because,
Hmm.
it wasn't broken down locally or regionally, and that's how I met some of the people I met, like out in California, Hawk and other people down south and, people out east, now they're trying to localize it more because they realize that has hurt them. They realize that, hey, we're able to talk from coast to coast now, right? And we're able to see that we're all going through very similar problems no matter where we live. And we're able to discuss this amongst one another. And that scares them. That because the power of the people is greater than the people in power when the people decide to get up and use that fucking power. Right? That's flat blunt to the point. Yeah, kids.
Jason, Jason and I would have never have met if it wasn't because of social media.
Right.
So
And my troll. And my troll.
Well, we
My
have the
troll
same
over on
tro,
Blue Sky.
apparently. We had the same tro.
Mhm.
I was like, he still tags me on things.
Oh, yeah. And there's
He
people that are on there be like, "Yeah, I understand, it makes sense," but the very troll we're talking about, some Philly guy or whatever, he what he does is he says, "No," his profile, I remember it well, "Extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence." Okay, provide the evidence. He
we
doesn't.
have.
All he provides is post of him saying blah, 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 blah. Then he'll in that post, he'll just go back of what he's saying. He doesn't provide no sourcing, no
He
media sourcing, no court records, nothing.
he did provide me one time with a data analyst, and the data analyst I actually went and checked out. But I do want to point out, a data analyst is not an integrity specialist.
Right.
So the data analyst was actually using the wrong type of statistical analysis to
Yep.
do the numbers.
I'll
So
take the word of a college professor that has been at the University of Michigan since, I can remember. and been studying elections around the world for decades over
A
any
data
data
analyst.
analyst that's been around for, 5 minutes.
Right, a data analyst, "Oh, trust me, I'm a data analyst, this is what these numbers mean." No, that's just not necessarily, and so that's
No,
the one person that he gave me, and I just basically came back and said, "This is a data analyst." Basically,
and
what they're
that's
s
what I like about the ETA's data is because, like, when they did Wayne County, they take into consideration, okay, precinct demographics, population sizes in that precinct, everything is taken into account when they
Mhm,
do their analysis of, whatever the area may be, Wayne County, for example. Um, because it's the same. And I've said it before. Like, El Sayedi says, you can drive 15 minutes in any direction, and the life expectancy can be a 10-year difference. And he didn't like that. Well, the same goes for voting, right? You here, like where I live, I can drive 15 minutes north, and that's going to be a ruby red area. They're all going to vote red. But
mhm.
you know what? They have a quarter of the population that we do down here in the city where everybody's going to vote blue. So you can drive in any direction and look at a map and say, "Yep, this person, that person's going to win." And I'm going to put this on the record right now. Abdul's not going to lose. He's not. He's going to wipe the floor with Haley. And
Well,
I
I do
base that based not just on polls, uh, real polling data, energy, support around the area, West Michigan. As you've seen, I was driving back from a ruby red area, and you know what I did see? Abdul signs here and there.
yeah,
You know what I
it
did not see?
his Haley signs.
Haley Stevens signs, and I
What
see
about
2 Mike Rogers signs.
what
That's it.
about, Mallory?
Oh, she dropped out.
Okay.
Yep, she's out. So it's just between and another thing people need to understand too is, starting to call like Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the Secretary of State, the DOJ or the AG that we have here. Who is that? What's her name? God dang it! Running for governor. I can't think of her name right now, and I live here. It's ridiculous, but like the little squad here, right? The centrists, the middle centrist Democrats. There's another option here in Michigan, people. If you live in Michigan, his name is Chris Swanson. He doesn't take PAC money. As a matter of fact, you might remember him from the BLM riots of 2020. He's the sheriff in Michigan that put down his badge and baton and went and protested with BLM protesters side by side. He made national news for it. He's running for governor. A lot of people don't know it because the focus has all been on Abdul and Haley as senator. But
But that's brings us back to our topic of the calm before the storm.
yeah, what's going? I would like
Brings
to see Chris Swanson, right?
yeah,
What's going to happen this election? Are they gonna fuck with it? And then oh yeah, Haley Stevens squeaks it out. No way. There's no way she squeaks it out in a fair
and
election.
if she does squeak it out, what do you think Abdul El Sarat is going to actually do? If she
I know I
does,
already he has talked. I know creators who are much larger than me that have
mhm,
had more access to him than I have. And I can tell you, um, I won't say who they are, right? Because I'm not supposed to, but they have had this conversation with him and they have told him, believe what you want, okay? But if we know what we're seeing, you know what your polling data is showing you, your own polling data has you up by 30 points.
right.
So if something happens, be ready. And he's just okay, he's not saying here nor there, right? So
But I do want to set the record straight. The reason why we're bringing up the Michigan Senate primary is it is next week, folks.
yep,
Senate
August
primary is
4th.
next week, August the 4th. So we have less than a week's time. And right now on Fox News, if I would believe this correctly, they're saying El Sayed was a member of the DSA
No, he's not.
Jason, I'm
No,
ready
he's
for
not.
you to go off on it now because he
No.
is not a member. What is
Look,
he a member of? Tell me what he's a member of.
nothing. Call me what you want. Call me a progressive. Call me a democratic socialist. Call me what you want. These are the things that I believe. These are the things, he's not a member of anything. You want to call him progressive? Fine, call him progressive. Y- The DSA, some of the things on there, even myself, I find quite extreme, right? Doing away with prisons, doing away with the Senate. Yeah, I don't, no, no, we still need prisons. I don't care what anybody says. We do. Do we need prison reform? Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Do people need to go to prison for 50 years in a federal prison because they had 20 pounds of weed in a certain state? No, they don't, right? The Senate, we need the Senate. The Senate, I mean, it's there. So them trying to take his name and label it to, like Mamdani in the DSA is absolutely ridiculous. He is not. And if that doesn't work, what they say is, well, he's not really a doctor. He didn't practice. No
Oh my
shit. He
goodness.
says that. He said, when I got done with school, University of Michigan, Columbia University, I decided to go into public health.
Right.
That's what he did. So he's very open about that.
Doesn't
And the
have
shit that they,
he doesn't have a MD after his name.
no,
So that's the reality. But he got his doctorate. So he is a doctor. So
yep.
they're trying to
Or
really smear him any way they can,
they don't have
including
shit.
right, including they even at one point, I even read about his salary. He makes like $700,000 a year. That's what
Yeah, and
his
they have,
and
he
they
has,
decided to make a big deal over that.
yeah, that his wife's a doctor too, by the way. His wife's a
Right.
psychotherapist or something like that. So what they did is they said, "Oh, he's in the top 1% of Michigan earners," and I'm like, let's sink that for
He's
a minute.
also a Rhodes Scholar too.
Yep. Let's say, okay, between him and his wife's combined income, which is under $1 million, and he's in the top 1% of earners in the state of Michigan. Let that sink in a minute. But you have the DeVos family, who's worth billions, who live in Grand Rapids. So you're trying to place him into the same threshold as the DeVos family, who started the Avon Corporation. Bullshit.
Yeah.
And he has properties in like Egypt or something. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't care.
I do want to go back to a point that you mentioned a little bit earlier. It's about the money involved in this particular race. What was it? $54 million? Is that 54 million APAC dollars?
No,
You know,
30 some million, 30 plus million APAC, and then 20 million something outside sources. And I think what really put the nail in it for Haley Stevens was their last debate, when she was asked a direct question and tried to walk it back after the debate
right,
about, are you taking money from DTE? She's
right,
like, no, but I'm being transparent. Yes,
right.
she is. And then Abdul came right back and said, oh, no, I want to revisit that. How did she
Thank you.
answer getting $40,000 from DTE? And that was the month before they started the campaign. Bullshit. She's getting, I don't care about the people that make the videos about the way she talks. Does she sound like she's from North Dakota to me? Yes, she doesn't sound like a Michigander. I don't care. What I care about is how she's going to vote. And I think I prove to people that believe that, well, just because these people donate to them and want them to win doesn't mean that, it's a quid pro quo. Bullshit. I proved it. I found the articles and I proved it over and over again.
Yeah, you
Do you
did.
think she's going to vote for Medicare for all if it comes up? No,
No,
because Blue
she
Cross
doesn't
Blue
have that
Shield.
history. Yeah, she doesn't have that history. It's not in her history. So if we're going to go by looking at somebody's history as a predictor of what they're going to do in the future.
Yep. I was reading Karma's comment.
Yeah, and I wanted to
Yeah,
bring that up.
absolutely right. You're right.
There's a
And he did. He posted videos like of his family, like his grandparents
who, his grandparents are, they live in the country and they're nice, a nice white old couple, right? So, you know, he did what he had to do. He went to school. He spent a few summers in Egypt. He went to the University of Michigan after high school. After he graduated, with honors and went to was it Columbia University to get his doctorate. And so come on, he is what you know. He is the embodiment, or he is the American dream, right?
Well,
He is doing the right thing.
here is something, Jason, you brought up a little bit earlier, is the fact, what if all this money that APAC is using, what good could that actually do for the state? Instead of using it to attack somebody, why don't they put it towards doing good for the state?
I said
And
her district, just Haley
right.
Stevens' district.
So, what good? And now, according to El Sayed's campaign, they stated that AIPAC's United Democracy Project spent roughly $18 million over 5 weeks in order to attack his character.
Yep. They said he was, the other one was women, right? He doesn't like women. And the reason they said that was because when he ran for governor in 2017, before, Trump days,
Mhm.
he said about Governor Gretchen Whitmer at the time that she's nothing more than bought and paid for by her daddy. Her daddy, because he's the CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan.
Right.
So that was him being misogynist and not liking women. Or he said about Haley Stevens that she doesn't seem to be able to she can't put a coherent sentence
Hold on
together.
one minute. I do want to say thanks for joining us again, Chris. And I think it's a great
Yes,
idea
thank you.
to get Chris Swanson on board as well. So to have him get out there, maybe through Substack. So let's work together on trying to find a way to do that. Go on.
What was I saying? Oh, about how he doesn't like women. And
Right.
what the underlying part of that is they're attacking his religion,
Yeah.
right? Because his wife owns her own practice. She's a practicing Muslim. She wears a hijab. So, he doesn't like women. He wants to control women. That's why they're doing that, because he said Haley Stevens can't put a coherent sentence together, or Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she's bought and paid for by her daddy. So, no, can't do that. And then my representative, she went on the attack because she supported Haley Stevens. She goes on the attack saying, nobody on my team would ever say anything like Hassan Piker did about 9/11. Yeah, this is what she said. Yeah, it's true. He walked back those comments and apologized that he shouldn't have said them, but he still said them, and I wouldn't be associated with anybody that says that about 9/11. That's all she's got. That's it. And we're like, okay. Oh, what about Fox News then? Well, what about Newsmax?
What about
Look at
all
the shit they
this?
say. And
Well,
Abdul has went on all of that. It's guilt by association, and I think he has done a terrific job of maneuvering that, saying, just because I go on Fox News doesn't mean I agree with Fox News. Just because I go on, with Hassan
well,
Piker doesn't mean I agree with everything he says, and I've told him that.
Well, here's the reality is in order to counter the narrative that they're putting out, the labeling strategies that they're doing, the only way to counter it is by going on those particular
Yep.
areas on Fox News,
Yep.
because that's the only way that you can challenge them. You can say, you're saying that I'm part of DSA. Well, I'm not part of DSA. And let me say that emphatically, I am not part of DSA. Do I support some of their messaging? Yes, I do. But again, I am not part of DSA.
I am me. That's
Correct.
right. I am me. And I think next week, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to see what I believe. I've said this many times. I've never been excited to cast my vote for a candidate. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. I'm going tomorrow to cast my vote.
Everyone. Every week.
Yep. Your Michigan is going to be at the forefront, because I believe, and I could be wrong, who knows, but I doubt it. Michigan is going to send a message to all of these centrist Democrats, to these, we need to meet in the middle. We have to have bipartisanship Democrats. We're going to send a message really loud that we're done. You think the New York mayor election was a message? No. Michigan is going to send a message that we're done. We are done. We're sick and tired of hearing about all the shit around the world that we can't have nice things because it's too expensive. No, we can't have nice things because you won't allow us to. Because you keep buckling to the fascists on the right that over the decades have brought us to where we are today. Because you buckle time and time again. There's no more meeting in the middle. There's no more, well, this or that. It's all or nothing. Healthcare is a human fucking right.
Yes, it is.
Housing is a human right. Food is a human right. Period. And there are other countries that make this country look foolish by the way they take care of their citizens.
Well, look foolish. We are foolish.
Yes.
It's not a matter of looks anymore. It's a matter, I think many people don't understand that. We have food insecurity here in the United States.
It's absurd.
We have people going into garbage here in the United States trying to find their next food. We have dispensaries, food dispensaries, for poor people with a waiting list.
Yep.
A waiting list.
We have a church right over there that does food pantry.
Right.
Just 3 blocks away, right? And last several years they've done it. Nothing, right? And they decided to do it again 2 weeks ago. Food pantry, freaking cars were lined up. And I have not seen that in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's bad out there. It's bad out there. But it's bad out there because of the system that we have in place, not just because of our current government. This has been coming for a long time. This is not the result of our current regime. This is the result of us allowing grocery stores to become conglomerates to dictate the pricing.
And the food that they throw away because, really, just because it's like, packs of bacon or whatever that are sealed, they're out of date. Well, they're still good for weeks after that. It's just this,
They
game of recycling.
Right. They throw away food and they lock it up. That, so the homelessness or the people without anything can get to it. That's really sad. They lock it up.
We have stores here. One of them is called Daily Deals. They buy all that outdated food and resell it for a lower cost. But still, I mean, think about that. That shouldn't have. I mean, come on, really? So you're going to the Walmarts and the Meijers and all these, and you're buying all of this outdated, perishables, some meats that are still, in date or maybe just a day or two, and now you're selling it for more money.
Well, Mandami actually got it. He was able to open up a public grocery store.
At cost.
At cost. He was able to do that.
That's socialism. Be careful.
And right here in San Francisco, they were trying to do the same thing. Of course, we have a billionaire as a mayor. Guess what happened to it?
Got shut down?
Yep.
Ridiculous. My daughter, she keeps pushing me to, Dad, I wish I could explain to her. She's like, all week, run for president. We need you, run for president. And I'm like, all week long.
Maybe have her run for president. There's a point. Right. Have her run for president.
Well, I'm still going up in the air of running a campaign for 2028 for my seat in Michigan's 3rd district. If I stay here, I'm really considering it.
Well,
I ask myself, can I beat her if she wins, right? She's still got to win in November. And if she wins again, can I primary her and beat her in 2 years? Absolutely. She'll use I know what she'll use. You don't have any government experience. Do you want somebody going that doesn't have any government experience?
What have you
And I could
what
see it
have
now.
you done?
Yeah,
What have
and I
you
would
done?
say, you know what? You're right. I don't have any government experience in Washington, D.C., but what I do have is I have the same experience that all these people that live in this city, in this district, have experienced. I've experienced losing everything. I've experienced homelessness. I've experienced, not having enough food to feed my family. I've experienced not having enough money to put in my gas tank to make it to work. Those are the experiences I have. I didn't grow up with a rich set of parents that had enough money to send me to college.
I was poor as a child, poor again, comes around in cycles with me. And of course, I'm poor as a child. I'm not making the money. But the reality is, I was brought up in a single parent family and with a mother who
Okay.
was trying to do better for herself, who went back to school, receive her master's degree. So I saw that as doing that. But there were times that what we were living off of was beans and rice. Good balanced meal,
Yep.
beans and
Yep.
rice, you know?
Oh, we got plenty of poor man meals that we
Right.
still even eat today because they're good.
Right. Beans and rice was our thing, And now I even have my middle son, he's allergic to legumes, so I can't even use beans and rice as
Oh
my
boy.
formats.
Oh,
Of all things to be allergic to, all legumes. We're talking about he's allergic to peas, he's allergic to peanuts, he's allergic to
oh
beans,
good. No.
and
Poor
I'm just
kid.
like, "Okay, what am I supposed to do?" Now, Karma, you mentioned a point that my mother used to always say to me. Um, Last time you said that, and she's telling you to run for something local first, especially school board if your children are still in school. And Karma, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about IEPs and 504s, a topic that I've been meaning to bring up several times now, but due to timing, I thought it would be more appropriate as
Yeah.
soon as school starts up. But my
My
mother
answer
used
to that is I'm going big or I'm not. That's it. I don't, I want to go where I can make the most impact. And if I can make that big of an impact in our district, because hypothetically, if I were to go to Washington, D.C. as Michigan's third congressional representative, I'm going to make a lot of fucking noise. I
and
will not
that's
be
what
your normal representative. You think Marjorie Taylor Greene made a lot of noise? I will make more noise, but for the good.
so Jason will be the storm.
Yep.
So to wrap it up for today, we went over several stories today, about 5 different stories this week, and we
You betcha.
discussed we discussed foreign policy, we discussed some of the federal courts, discussed Michigan's state primary, we discussed wealth hoarding and the billionaires, as well as predatory capitalism. But we but all these things have a similar pattern underneath them. So basically, what I'm stating here is when the macro level goes quiet, it gets managed through a label or it gets reshuffled um, by a death, maybe. Let's talk about Lindsey Graham. What
Yeah.
happened there? Or then an appointment within 72 hours. Think about Lindsey Graham's sister. Now it's all of a sudden an appointment. This is not the system actually resting. This is not the calmness, but this is
No.
how the ecosystem is actually working. So down to at the micro level, we talked about how it feels at the gas prices. How much did your gas prices just recently go up?
70 cents yesterday.
70 cents. Um, we talked about um, how oh shoot, Syed is getting called a socialist, but that's as part of the news cycle because everything else is going on that's quiet. There's something else that is moving underneath it,
Yep.
And so this is the coordination. This is actually chaos as the coordination. So Michigan, the vote is coming right up, and this is not abstract. So the storm is arriving, and the storm is probably going to be arriving before we even end this episode.
Maybe. Yeah. Just watch, keep your eye on Michigan next week. And, I don't, I think something big is coming. And I don't, all this other stuff, they use it, even Lindsey Graham's funeral, they use it for a distraction. I mean,
Absolutely.
at a funeral of all things, and he's in the front row. Let's be for real. Like Mitch McConnell missing. Uh, I think
I
he's
don't
dead.
know.
I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
dead. I think he's dead. I
He's
think they're waiting
dead.
until August 3rd.
Yeah, and that's coming up. I don't understand why the governor isn't putting somebody in his seat. I don't understand.
Right.
There's
That's what I
no
said. I
proof
mean,
of life.
I don't know the Kentucky
What's
Constitution, but I do know that the governor gets to pick somebody, and that's
Yes.
why I made them videos, and I'm like, hey, governor, tell him he's got 24 hours to answer, or you're going to put a senator in that seat.
The calm before the storm.
Yep.
I'm hoping Friday. That's tomorrow. Friday,
Yep.
he puts somebody in the seat. I want proof of life.
Yep.
They haven't given proof of life. A couple of the pictures is not proof of life.
Those were his picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Not proof of life.
He looked
So,
awfully good in those pictures. What happened to the purple lips?
yes, no, not proof of life. So, yeah, Lizzie Graham was your senator, Karma?
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
He now, okay. Hi, Ellen. We're about to end. Hopefully, we can show AIPAC that their dirty money isn't wanted in this country. And
That's
yes,
right.
after August the 3rd, watch what happens. Yes, we need to
Yep.
be on the guard for that one. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Really, we're not in a calm. It may feel that the way, but we're not there.
That's right.
So I appreciate it. If you haven't had a chance to follow or subscribe to Jason, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button to me, Zorha at Resistance Press. And you can also now find Jason on Instagram.
Insta. That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Where do I got that one at? Jason_politics. Yep. Same profile picture. Just look for
same
the profile picture.
Yeah. So that it is Jason_politics for you.
Yep.
I don't even remember my name. It's ZZZZ or something like that. I don't know.
Whatever they make.
Whatever it is. So anyway, thank you for joining us this week. Looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. Whole lists of new topics. But always going to the exosystem and how the exo relates to our micro. Take care, all.
All righty. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.